Hey everyone, welcome back. Bigelow Reviews here. I am Brent Bigelow, and I have a new review for you, and that is 12 Carat Toothache by Post Malone. Before we get into this one, I just want to say thank you guys so much for always clicking and watching my videos. I really do appreciate it. I hope to get this channel popping soon to the point where I could just do this full time because I do enjoy it, but we're nowhere close to that yet. But I do appreciate you clicking on my face, watching this video. And while you're here, please check out some other ones after this video is over. I would greatly appreciate it. But this is Post Malone's fourth studio album and his follow-up to 2019's Hollywood's Bleeding, which was relatively a decent album. It was good. There were some pretty standout tracks on here. For being a Post Malone album, there's always a few hits on like everything he releases. I would consider myself a rather big Post Malone fan. I love his vibey pop and like R&B hip-hop vibes he has going on, and I just like his raw energy and his persona in general. So needless to say, I was excited for this album once I heard it was coming to be released. There wasn't much fluff and lead up to it. It was kind of like a week out. It's like, oh, new Post Malone album. So, you know, that's never a good sign. But as a Post Malone fan, I feel like I can say a lot of his music has gotten worse every album release. It hasn't been as great as the previous one. Stoney obviously being like a great debut album. You have Beer Bongs and Bentleys, which is a good album. Then you have Hollywood Bleeding, where I'm like, okay, it's fine. And now this one, I'm just confused, if we're being completely honest. This album has some of the typical Post Malone vibey, reverby stuff that you would expect when it comes to one of his projects, but just musically it's lacking, but then it's made up with more reverb. Like, I don't understand what the thought process was on here or how he was feeling while doing this, because I know he's talked a lot about how he wants to be in a spot where he doesn't feel the need. He has to make music, and he wants to make music because he wants to. But a lot of the songs on here really felt like they are like half-baked, not necessarily all the way through. And even some of the really poppy songs that are built up to be a pop track, like the song Cooped Up with Roddy Ricch, just kind of has this lacking a few extra things. They almost sound like too sugary of a pop track, so much that like there's nothing to really remember about it while you're listening to it. What? If that makes any sense at all. It sounds like Post Malone, but like half of what you would expect. The one positive takeaway you can actually get from this album are some of the more sentimental singer-songwriter acoustic type tracks that Post Malone's kind of been like subtly hinting at that he wants to do later on in his career. For an example, the song Lemon Tree, which has like this acoustic vibe, talking more so on a personal level, saying that other people have apples and tangerine trees, and he has an apple tree because he's not happy with the things that he was given. So he feels like he has to make lemonade out of the lemons that he was given. Another sentimental track on here is the song with Fleet Foxes, which is the love-hate letter to alcohol, where Post Malone talks about how his like alcoholism and his abuse of that has caused a lot of pains in his life. And it's crazy to think that he's so synonymous with drinking beer and with having like a sponsorship of Bud Light that he goes out and makes a song like this. It's definitely something you wouldn't expect, and I commend him for being able to talk about it. And then another song in here is Euthanasia, where he's talking about how all these things in his life are such a burden on him. It kind of has like a country sadness to it that you would expect from some country slow songs, but the super surreal, honest portrayal from Post Malone is something worth noting because you don't often get that from him. The strongest part about this entire album, again, is the lyrics, where he talks about a lot of stuff and goes through his life, but even some of the pop songs that have really good lyrics are just lacking strongly in the production side, where the music just isn't up to par. Again, lyrically it feels focused, but musically it's such a mixed bag. The pop songs on here are easily forgettable, and honestly I feel like there's 0 hits on this project, even though Post Malone and freaking The Weeknd combined on a track, and that one I don't even see being a massive hit either. It's just bland. A lot of the songs on here are just kind of boring. Even the features, some of the features on here are pretty decent. The song with Doja Cat, her feature's pretty great. Roddy Ricch kind of shows up on his song. He does alright. And then again, Fleet Foxes feel like it was like a misplaced track. It didn't feel like a Fleet Foxes song with their super organic folk airiness that you expect from their sound. I would like to hear Post Malone on more of a Fleet Foxes sounding song than a Post Malone sounding song, especially if you have them in the building, right? And then the Kid Laroi also has a feature on this album, but he's like Post Malone Jr. They kind of sound the same. I didn't even notice he was on here until like I looked at the track list. I said, oh, Kid Leroy. But this album, I'm not too crazy about it. I do like Post Malone. The only thing worth noting and taking out of this album are the facts that he's talking a little more honest and he's singing a little more personable about his life and some of the possible soon-to-be acoustic tracks like Lemon Tree on this one. But I'm not too crazy about this album. I give it like a 38. But what do you think? Put your scores down in the comment section below. Make sure you like, subscribe, and share this video with your friends. And then I'll see you guys in the next one. Biggie out.